Okay, welcome back to the shop. I know in the last video we were kind of fresh off the dyno and been pretty happy with how things are going. But we've got a whole nother car to finish here, and I still have some things to do on Moose. So I'm going to show you where I'm at. I am currently working on basically a coolant catch can and a pressurized reservoir, to catch any air bubbles that we get. Basically a small, swirl pot. Alright, so not my best work, but I welded up these tanks. There's two of them here, and then they are held in this 3D printed mount. They've got a couple inlet and outlet ports. The one on the right is the pressurized reservoir, and then the one on the left is literally just your overflow. And they go basically right in like that. Now, it's a little different between the two cars because I planned on them to bolt to this face here, but this car has this reinforcement bracket. So I'm going to have to do something a little bit different over here, but I'll show you how this fits in Tramp as soon as I get it down. Okay, so in Tramp there's a little more room here. So this guy, that's going to fit right in there. Actually sits up a little bit, so just like that. So I just got to get it drilled and tapped into the side of that face, and we'll get this thing bolted on, run some lines, and we'll be good to go on that. Of course, my biggest project that I'm dreading and avoiding basically is building the other exhaust system. So another big update that I've been meaning to film a little bit on is the power distribution module. So this is straight from ASM, Andy Smedgard and Alex Moss. They got us this hardwire PDM, and we've been working on the wiring on it. So the harness kind of runs around. Got a couple leads going on. Yeah, it's super cool. So get your keypad, so just master on, and then everything is controlled from these buttons. So pretty excited about that. I've got some headlights. Yep, headlights hooked up. So for the steering wheel, I want to have a couple buttons. I want one that during pit stops, after the car's been shut down and we're refueled, you're sitting there, waiting for fueling, I guess, to finish, and you want to be able to start the car and get away quickly. So we want to leave the ignition off and the fuel pumps off until fueling is complete. So I have a button that Moss programmed. So on the steering wheel, when you push it, it turns the ignition back on, turns the fuel pumps on, and runs the starter motor all in one button on the steering wheel and gets you going as quick as possible. The other one is a button that flashes the headlights, so just a momentary, and then another button for the latched high beams. Of course, there's always the talk of a pit speed limiter, but on the stock ECU, I haven't quite gotten that far as to how we'd really make that work. I'll probably for now program some lights on the dash, kind of what we did in the pro cars, like when I ran with Flying Lizard in the 24-hour. You have lights on the dash that kind of come down in color, and when they're green, you're below the pit speed limiter. So it works really well for entering pit lanes. There's kind of when you push a button, it turns the pit speed limiter on, and that turns on these lights on the dash, and they'll be red, and as you brake for the entry, they'll turn green. Once you're at green, back to throttle, and of course on that car, it'll then hold speed. On this car, it'll be up to you to keep those lights green. But just any driver aid, it doesn't have to be fancy. Alright, pretty excited about this. I've now got the coolant tank mount bolted up. Hold those cans. And I made a couple more. So here's one more of the pressurized side and one more overflow. I want to get two of these on Moose here. Also finished up to their intake. So it now has its MAP sensor bung welded on and a spot for the valve cover hose to connect to. Little things, but yeah. Let's get this hooked up and plumbed, and it's going to go to the radiator right here and to this little barb right here. It's got the little overflow tank, and I'll kind of show you I think this thing's pretty cool because it's got these wings here that are flexible, so this tank here can slide right out. Wiggle that guy in there. There's one. This mount here is just gonna pull out. It's gotta go around that. Kind of simple. And then there's already a nut in there, so I just need to put the through bolt through. Get this thing cinched down a little. Okay. Oh, those are so solid. I can shake the whole car with these things. Cool. Alright. So I've got some old lines. There's a good story about this one and a reason why I'm not going to reuse this fitting. So when we took the Big Bad Wolf on one lap, this was the turbo oil drain line. And at NOLA, all of a sudden, there's a lot of smoke coming from the car and a bit of a fire under the hood. I finished my 3 laps and pulled off as quickly as I could after that and was able to grab the halon extinguisher and put the fire out. And this fitting here, due to a crack in the exhaust manifold, was getting baked. And you can see it was black like that. And it got a little cooked. And when it got super hot, it came loose. And yeah, caused a bit of a fire. But of course, with 1 lap rules, we have to finish the session, and the car somehow made it. And then after we got the fire out, we then had to drive the car 30 minutes and get the turbo off, get the manifold off, get the manifold welded up. And we weren't able to repair this on the trip. We just tightened the living crap out of it. And it made it another 3 days before finally being replaced. So I'll pull these apart, make up a new line. I know I'm kind of just reusing old stuff, but I mean, I've been keeping it this long. Either I'm going to put it to use or throw it away. So let's put it to use. Trying to knock out some splitter mounts. So we've of course got our tried and true just air dampers, little air shocks here, and let's see, got some fresh brake ducts in there, and Chris is notching the splitter out around the oil pan and then aligning some front mounts. You know, the 4 mounts on the corners, you know, the 2 front and the 2 sides are as is from before, and the other 2 basically notching in these 3/16 plates into the subframe bars here, and those are just drilled and tapped to receive the countersunk hardware, and that countersunk hardware goes into the hard points here on the splitter, so everything's nice and flush when it's installed. The 488 is in, of course, so there it is. We got axles that we just got assembled, and things are kind of coming together. We're still missing the frame rail braces for this car, and Amanda in the morning is going to pick up the shifter so that I can modify that and get that installed. I know I've been walking in and out in some of the videos, but the fab shop has been quickly coming together from basically necessity. Brian, one of the employees here, has been doing the copper air lines, so there is now air drops everywhere. There's one there, one right there, one right there, and then all scattered across to this wall. And then so far we've got 4 of these just little lines here. Kind of chip blowers. I got my Kurt Weiss mounted up on the Bridgeport. Then over here, I moved a few things around. So got your fab cart with, you know, all the basic tools and cutting. We got the saw actually set up with new blades now, so that's going to hopefully help make this exhaust fab a little quicker. Just cleared this corner out to move everything over to the car. Anyway, time to get going again. So you can see I'm cranking away on this exhaust. I got this whole piece tacked up. I then tacked a piece on here, then didn't like it, so I'm obviously flying. Is she good? Is she a solid unit?
She is good.
She push up approved, chin up. There you go. Wow, much strong. Alright. Good test is if you break one of your mounts, will the splitter still stay on? And yeah, pretty much. Another beautiful day in the shop. Got this heater installed. So even though it is now like 0 degrees outside, it is 60 degrees in here. So pretty excited about that. Chris is over here playing with some wing mounts. Ugh. Got some fresh bits in from Johnny. What we got here? V3 Miata mounts. So these little guys go down in here and pop up through these holes here. Sure they go the other way. Got exhaust number 2 cranking along here. Same deal. Tried to copy it as best I could. Getting some of my parts prepped over here. This guy goes right here. Then we got some extra pieces of bend to make up those 2 pieces. Alright, Chris has made some progress on getting the 9 lives wing bolted back up the tramp. And it's got these areas here now reinforced pretty well.
This is supposedly Johnny's
right now.
version 3 that we are the test subject for. We're trying to figure out how to make them work.
It's gonna work great. And I'm just about there. At least I'm ready to weld this thing up now. So, got your fitment and all your clearances. Oh, this one probably fits better than the last one. And one thing, of course, so as you can see, the exhaust is all the way to this side right now. But remember, the exhaust was cold, so when it heats up, it's going to expand and grow lengthwise down the car. So when they're cold, I always like to keep them, really close up against the front edge, and then expect that it's going to just kind of work its way that way. And hopefully we end up right in the middle when we're racing. But we'll see. I'm probably not that good, but that's at least the design intent. Alright, let's get this welded up and get out of here. Alright, I figure if I weld this up, I'll just show you my welding setup. A couple people asked about it, and it's pretty simple. So, I've got this Everlast 210 EXT, and it's been a pretty good welder. And then I use just this dual regulator here, and then I've got a couple torches. This is just my little one here. And I usually use this just for collectors because I get a big laminar flow through this section here. So by the time it gets to the tip, I can extend this tungsten out like 2 inches and really dig down into a collector and still have good gas coverage. For welding this, I'll probably use one of my bigger lenses. So really just for gas coverage purposes, I use this big number 12. I've seen some guys make like some cool little like trailing cups using more aluminum foil. I mean, I use aluminum foil a lot, and I tried it the other day, but I'm just not very good at getting that to kind of wrap around the part. I'm sure I'm just doing it wrong. And then yeah, I just use some aluminum foil and like I'll put a hole in it, and then I use these old gloves to hold the aluminum foil on if I can. Sometimes the part's too hot, but like my first weld's all the way over here, so this glove will be just fine. And there's the hose running into it and a little weight. And then yes, that's back purging right now. I'm sure it's about ready. Most of this, I mean, I know it's kind of cheating, but I'm basically just going to fuse it all together. I get everything fit up, as tight and even as I can, and then fuse it together, and it makes for a strong, good looking part. So I'm sure there's some things wrong with that, but it's worked for me so far. The only thing left to do on this front half here, I just need to put this O2 bung on. So I've got that prepped, and that's currently purging out. And then we've got the other, back half of the exhaust. So this thing is complete minus the hanger, or exhaust hanger, that goes from here to right here. And I just don't want to do that until I know everything is rock solid. The other thing that I need to do is make a shifter. Alright, so I need to take this stock shifter and cut it up, cut off this side, and then shave this bottom plate a little thinner. And that way I can kind of access the moving lower part easier, and then weld this to a plate that bolts into the car. It's really not too hard to do. I did it on Tramp pretty easily. The other thing we need is a rod. And of course the new shift rod's about 10 inches shorter than it was in the Camaro. Good enough. Let's see. This guy put in right up here. Alright, there it is. Alright, we've been cleaning. We've got like our last table of bits to go on the car. We have also this brand new 18-gallon fuel cell. We probably won't get this in for Barber, but it'll go in after that. So currently the fuel tank that's in the car is a little small. It's like 16 gallons. So we'll be a little short. We're allowed to have, with our new power to weight, 18 to 18 and a half. Eventually shoehorn that little bigger cell in here. The cell we have in here, as you can see, kind of fitted midship. And then I got a little surge tank. And of course the PDM harness is sitting here, ready to be plugged in. We had it unplugged because we were testing some things and some light circuits. All that is good to go. Alright, got Moosey here. I think it's time to take her for a drive. I think we actually have all the bits on the car. Alright, it's alive. Ah, so cool to see the second car rolling. Oh no. Got all the stuff parked out here today. Yeah, you're good. That thing sounds wicked. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's just spicy.
It's like somebody drilling into your brain with a hammer.
Let's get you some earplugs. Yeah, it's a loud car. I think Chris might be completely deaf now. Yeah, pretty awesome. Chris has got everything cleaned up in here. We got the ASM hardwire PDM. We got some of my janky shift plate action going on.
Yeah, there's no second gear.
Yeah, I know. We'll fix that later. Yeah. She is a clean unit. Let us sit out here, cool off, top her up. Time for a donut test. Gotta make sure I can still do donuts. Make sure the dip works. Alright, sorry if this has been a long episode again. This will probably, hopefully, be kind of the last build episode before we're out and racing these cars. So thanks everyone that kind of stuck it out. Sorry it's been long. And hopefully we'll see you at the track.